They were promised backup, promised artillery, promised naval support. But when the smoke cleared and the deafening echo of explosions died down, what the Marines saw wasn't reinforcements on the horizon. It was empty ocean. The Navy had pulled back. The warship silhouettes that once meant safety and support were gone, swallowed by waves and orders from distant command. And yet, those Marines didn't retreat. They didn't crumble. They dug in their boots, looked at each other, and decided they would hold their ground, or die trying. But why? What makes a man stand firm in the face of death when everything he was counting on vanishes? It was 1942, Guadalcanal, a savage patch of jungle no one had ever heard of until American Marines stormed its shores. The mission was to take the island's airfield, choke off Japan's momentum, and draw the line in the sand that said, no further. But barely a week in, the unthinkable happened. In the dead of night, under pressure from approaching Japanese fleets, the U.S. Navy made a brutal call. They withdrew, leaving over 11,000 Marines on the island with almost no supplies, no guarantee of survival, and no way out. Panic could have broken them. But something deeper held them together. Hunger clawed at their stomachs. Disease festered in the humid air. Japanese forces crept closer through the thick jungle, whispering death with every rustle. But the Marines, they became ghosts in the trees, masters of survival. They didn't just endure, they fought. And when Japanese commanders launched wave after wave, expecting an easy collapse, they were stunned to find relentless resistance. These weren't ordinary soldiers. These were sons of miners, farmers, welders, boys from Detroit, Dallas, and Des Moines. And now they were brothers forged in fire, holding the line not for orders, but for each other. Days turned into weeks. Supplies were dangerously low. Rations came down to moldy biscuits and rainwater caught in helmets. Yet still, the Marines held the perimeter. Every sunrise brought the same question: would the Navy return? Would help arrive before they were all buried under jungle soil? Japanese troops surrounded them from three sides, convinced the Americans would crack. They didn't know these men had already made peace with death. They weren't fighting to survive, they were fighting to make every last bullet count. To make sure if they went down, they'd take 10 enemies with them. At night, Japanese loudspeakers blared propaganda, promises of mercy, lies of surrender, eerie calls in broken English. But the Marines didn't flinch. They responded with silence, or sometimes, with the sharp crack of a rifle through the trees. One corporal carved a note on his helmet: Navy or not, this ground is ours. That became the heartbeat of the unit. Defiance wasn't just an instinct anymore, it was a creed. Then something miraculous happened. Against every odd, the Navy returned, warships on the horizon, supplies parachuted in. Reinforcements storming the beaches like angels from the sea. The ground that had once trembled under Japanese artillery now shook with American firepower. And those 11,000 Marines, barely breathing, starving and half-mad from exhaustion, stood taller than ever. They had done it. They had defied logic, expectation, and even command. And the world took notice. The Battle of Guadalcanal didn't just change the momentum of the Pacific War. It redefined what courage looked like. It wasn't just about fighting with guns. It was about holding your ground when even your own side thinks it's hopeless. It was about loyalty that goes deeper than strategy. The loyalty to your brothers beside you. And that's what made the enemy tremble. Before you go, tell us in the comments, would you have stayed behind? Or would you have retreated with the Navy? And don't forget, subscribe for more stories of forgotten bravery that shaped our world.